Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Eldridge Park here in Orleans, Massachusetts. It's Orleans Firebirds baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Noah Johnson alongside Tyler Rocky. And Tyler, Orleans, who looked dead and buried last night, on their way to their second consecutive loss, came back 5 runs in the 8th inning, and they beat Harwich 7-4.
We've seen a couple of very resilient performances by this Firebirds team over the last couple of games. Obviously last night against Harwich, also against Chatham the other night here at Eldridge Park. And it's all come with the bat of Cesar Salazar. He's been huge at the plate, has 2 home runs in those 2 comeback wins. And ever since he's kind of made himself a mainstay in this lineup, whether it's behind the plate or as a designated hitter, he's kind of paced this Orleans offense and has had some timely hits, which is really what this Firebirds team has been lacking all season long.
And the bullpen returned in full force last night. We're also joined by Matt Doherty. And Matt, the bullpen back in action after a rough game in Wareham. What did you see from them as they throw 5 2/3 innings of shutout baseball?
Yeah, we've seen it a lot this summer, Noah, this bullpen really picking up this team. And last night was the same story. Chandler Day obviously making his Firebirds debut, and he's a guy that could be a first-round pick next year. Probably will be in the starting rotation as the season goes on, but he pitched well. And then, of course, Cody Deason, who's been incredible in 8 innings, and Josh Hyatt's just outstanding to close the game. I talked to Brandon Riley after the game, his college teammate, and he said, I don't think I've ever seen Josh blow a save, and they have so much confidence in him. When you have a guy like that going out there to shut down the game, you're in pretty good shape.
And I want to drift this question across to both of you. Cotuit has possibly the best player, or at least the most prolific offensive player in the Cape League so far, in Griffin Conine, the son of former Major Leaguer Jeff Conine. Conine batting .475, leads Cotuit in hits with 19, also has 6 doubles, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. What do you both think that Orleans can do to shut him down offensively?
Well, for me, he's hitting in the leadoff spot today, and I think you just kind of have to pitch around him. And hey, if he gets on base with a walk, if that's the way he's going to beat you, so be it. I mean, you can't really stop him right now, hitting .472, and you look, he's just doing it all over the place. Also has 7 RBIs. That's good for top 10 in the league as well. So there's not much you can do to contain Conine. I mean, much like his father, who's a star in the MLB, there's only so much you can do pitching-wise to him. But out of the leadoff hole, I think that's something you maybe look to your advantage, and I'm sure that's something that Cotuit has done strategically to place him in a spot where he can get on base pretty easily.
All right, well, we'll take a break for the national anthem and return for first pitch. Firebirds and the Kettleers coming up, the first game of a doubleheader here on a Sunday afternoon on Cape Cod. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome to Eldridge Park here in Orleans, Massachusetts. The Orleans Firebirds getting ready to take on the Cotuit Kettleers in the Firebirds' 12th game of the 2017 regular season. We'll give you the batting order for the visiting Cotuit Kettleers. Leading off and playing right field out of Duke is Griffin Conine. Batting second and playing center field out of Wichita State is Grayson Genesta. Batting third and playing third base out of Santa Clara is John Cresto. Batting in the cleanup spot at shortstop out of Duke is Zach Cohn. Batting fifth and playing second base out of Alabama is Chandler Avant. Batting sixth and playing left field out of North Carolina State is Brett Kinnaman. In the seventh spot and playing first base out of UCLA is Michael Tolia. Batting eighth and behind the plate out of Boston College is Gian Martellini. And in the 9-hole, the designated hitter out of Michigan, Miles Lewis, and they go up against Orleans starter Ryan Rollison, making his first start for the Firebirds. He plays his college ball at Mississippi. Had a good season for the Rebels. Made 10 starts, 19 appearances, with 6-3 with a 3.06 ERA as he gets ready to take on the Cotuit Kettleers. The first meeting between these two teams as Griffin Conine digs in. And look at the stats that this kid has put up. 475, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs on the season. Also has 6 doubles. He will dig in from the left-hand side. Cotuit wearing their batting practice jerseys today. Maroon with the Kettleers logo on the left chest with white pants and pinstripes. Here's the first pitch of the ball game, and it's over the outside corner for a strike from Rollison. Firebirds in their home whites, with red sleeves, white caps, and red brims. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Conine, and that's inside. 1-1 the count. Conine, the son of former Major Leaguer Jeff Conine. Spent a big part of his career with the Florida Marlins. As the left-hander Rollison looks in, he kicks and fires, and that is down low. 2-1 to the right fielder out of Duke.
His dad was a part of both Florida World Series championships, the only 2 in Florida history.
Here's the 2-1. Swung on and grounded to second base. Ethan Paul's got it, and he tosses on to first for the first out of the inning. We'll take a look at the Orleans defense behind Rollison. It's Steve Passatempo at first, Ethan Paul at second, Jax Groshans at third, and Romy Gonzalez at short. Left to right, Kevin Stroshine, Jimmy Herron, and Nico Decolati, with Austin Hale doing the catching. As he makes another start. Cooper Johnson no longer with the Firebirds, so the catching duties are going to be split between Hale and Cesar Salazar as Grayson Genesta digs in and takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. Swung on and grounded to second base again. Ethan Paul up with it on to first. And there's 2 quick outs on 2 quick ground outs to second to start the afternoon. This is a 7-inning game as we are playing a doubleheader here in Orleans, the second and final scheduled doubleheader of the season. Orleans had one last weekend against the Falmouth Commodores. They split that 1 game apiece. And the situation for Orleans here, if they win both, they're over 500. Here's the first pitch to Cresto, and that's fouled off. 0-1. John Cresto, third baseman out of Santa Clara, 389 with 1 home run and 9 RBIs. Was 3 for 5 yesterday as Cotuit knocked off East Division leaders YD 9-2. Cotuit tied atop the West at 6-4. Here's the pitch, and that's over for a strike.
Rollison attacking early on with strikes. Something we've seen all season long from these Orleans pitching.
No balls and 2 strikes on John Cresto as Rollison looks in, and the lefty delivers. Swung on and fouled off to the right. That one almost hitting the light tower above the Firebirds dugout. And the count stays 0-2. Orleans will play Cotuit again on the road this coming Wednesday. There'll be only 1 more meeting between the teams after that. Rollison kicks and fires. Swung on and tapped foul back to the backstop. Count stays 0-2 as Cresto hangs in there and battles. Fell behind 0-2 quickly, but has fouled a couple pitches off. First time we've seen a Cape League team with the player names on the backs of the jerseys. Here with Cotuit. Here's the 0-2. Swung on and fouled off again. Tried to get him with a breaking ball, but that was tap foul again. Back to the padding that covers the brick wall that makes up the backstop. About 4 feet high. So we'll do it again. Here's the 0-2. And that is strike 3 over the inside corner. Got him with a fastball. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Rollison in his Orleans Firebirds debut. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Kettleers nothing, Firebirds coming up on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Eldridge Park here in Orleans, Massachusetts, as we move to the bottom of the first inning. Your batting order for the Orleans Firebirds this afternoon looks like this. Leading off and playing center field out of Duke is Jimmy Herron. Batting second and playing second base out of Vanderbilt is Ethan Paul. In the 3 spot and playing right field out of Loyola Marymount is Nico Decolati. In the 4 spot, the designated hitter out of Arizona, it's Cesar Salazar. Batting 5th and playing third base out of Kansas is Jax Groshans. Batting 6th and in left field out of Tennessee Tech is Kevin Stroshine. In the 7th spot and playing shortstop out of Miami is Romy Gonzalez. Batting 8th and playing first base out of UMass Lowell, it's Steve Passatempo. And in the 9 hole and behind the plate out of Stetson is Austin Hale. And they go up against the 6'7" lefty Justin Hooper, who makes his second start for the Kettleers. 0-0 with a 2.25 ERA in 4 innings pitched. The Kettleers defense behind him looks like this. It's Tolia at first, Avant at second, Cresto at third, and Cone at short. Left to right, Kinnaman, Genesta, and Conine, with Martellini doing the catching for the tall lefty out of UCLA. As Jimmy Herron digs in, had the day off yesterday in the Firebirds' victory as they knocked off the Harwich Mariners. Digs in from the right-hand side. Here's the first pitch, and it's over the outside corner, a fastball for a strike. Herron batting .452, that leads the Firebirds. 1 home run, he's driven in 6. Here's the pitch. Swung on and ripped into deep left center field, going back at the fence, and it's caught on the track by the left fielder Kinnaman. So a loud first out as Herron gives the ball a ride, a 0-1 pitch that caught too much of the plate, but it's a long fly out to left. That'll bring up Ethan Paul with 1 out in the inning.
It's good to see the Firebirds come out swinging, getting some good wood on that pitch. Right there was Herron. Had the day off yesterday, but you don't want to be running these guys out there every single day in the summer season. And Herron seems well rested after giving that one a big fly.
That was about 340 in the air, to the left of that 350 sign in left center. Here's the pitch. Paul shows bunt and lays it down foul down the third baseline. The count is 0-1 on Ethan Paul. 222 for Paul. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. 0 home runs. He's driven in 3. Bats from the left-hand side. He got 2 ground balls back in the first inning to his second base position. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is away. The count is 1-1 on Paul. Now from the windup once again is Justin Hooper. Here's the pitch. That misses high. A very deliberate motion by Justin Hooper. as he really does wind up before kind of slinging the ball in there. A lot of moving parts. Here's the pitch. Swung on and ripped foul down the right field line. Count evens up at 2-2.
Orleans is getting some good wood on these early pitches from Hooper. Unfortunately, Paul hasn't put one in fair play. And then we saw Heron with a deep fly ball, really fighting this wind that's blowing in.
Another windy day here on the Cape. Not as bad as it has been, but still noticeable. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and lashed down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Around first goes Ethan Paul, and he will take a wide turn, but hold there. It's a one-out single off the bat of Paul, and that'll bring up Nico Decolati with a man on first.
And it looks like that tall, thick outfield grass kind of slowed that one down right there. Otherwise, we might be looking at extra bases from Paul. It was hit hard, but not super hard. But I think if we're at a field like Harwich where we were yesterday, that ball probably rolls a little bit into the corner and lets Paul get 2 bases.
Well, here's Decolati. 1 for 8, no home runs, no RBIs, playing in his 3rd game for Orleans. First pitch is swung on and fouled off the catcher's mitt, and it deflects off the brick backstop for strike 1. Well, these Orleans hitters so far not threatened by the 6'7 lefty. Heron drives one to the fence, and then a single down the left field line off the bat of Ethan Paul to start the game. The count is 0-1 on Decolati. Look at first, and now the pitch. And there's a breaking ball, misses high, and a check on Ethan Paul, but he dives back in safely. Earliest start time of the season here in Orleans at 3 p.m.
You a big Dave game fan?
I like him once in a while. Much more of a night baseball guy myself, but, you know, on the weekends I think it's nice. Here's the pitch. That's up and away. I know, being from Chicago and being a Cubs fan, you must be a big fan of day games.
The classic 1:20 start times. Love them. Nothing better than that.
Outside of this 3 o'clock start, the earliest first pitch that we will see this season is 5:30 here at Eldridge Park for a couple of Sunday home games. 2-1 pitch to Decolati, and that is up and away. 3-1, so a good count here for Decolati. Right fielder out of Loyola Marymount. Played in his first game on Friday. Had a hit in the loss to Wareham. 0 for 4 yesterday, though, at White House Field. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Hooper, and now he'll look over at first base, and diving back is Ethan Paul. No tag applied by Tolia. Hyannis, or Cotuit, is the best defensive team in the league so far. They've only committed 3 errors on the season. 3-1 the count. Here's the pitch from Hooper. Now he throws over again to first base, and diving back is Ethan Paul. It's a good move from Hooper. So it's still 3-1. Couple pickoff attempts. Decent sized lead over at first base for Ethan Paul. Hooper ready. And he delivers. Swing and a miss. Decolati didn't go all the way around. It was a fastball up and away, and only about a 3/4 swing as he tried to hold up way too late. The count runs full. So 3-2, runner on first. 1 out, no score, bottom of the first. And now a check again on Ethan Paul, and the ball skips away, but only a few feet off the foul line beyond first base, and scrambling to get it is Tolia. No advancement for Ethan Paul. So Decolati will dig in again. 3-2 the count. Cesar Salazar on deck. Wind gusting left to right at the moment. Hooper ready. And the pitch. Strike 3 call over the outside corner. He froze Decolati, who was unable to pull the trigger. And that's the second out of the inning. First strikeout for Justin Hooper. And that will bring up Cesar Salazar, who in his last plate appearance, cracked a 2-run home run down the right field line in Harwich, his second 2-run homer of the season. He's now batting .333, along with those 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Was 2 for 4 in total in last night's contest. Here's the first pitch from Hooper, who takes a long look in. Now he delivers, and there's an off-speed pitch that misses high. Want to know the count on the designated hitter out of Arizona? We've seen him behind the plate a few times so far. Got to catch his college teammate Cody Deason yesterday. Deason getting the win, his first of the season. Now a check on Ethan Paul and another low throw, but the play made by the first baseman Tolia.
We haven't seen Paul attempt to run very much this season, but he's occupying Hooper's mind, especially over these last 2 batters.
Tall lefty looks in. He's ready. Runner goes, and that is up and in, and it clips Cesar Salazar, who is upset as he tosses the bat over toward the Orleans dugout. That caught him up around the shoulder area. And there's 2 on and 2 out for Jax Groshans.
We saw a number of hit-by pitches yesterday, 3 on the Orleans side, 2 of them being taken by Cole Austin. But there we see Salazar take one right there, and with 2 outs, that's when you last want to hit a batter. Jax Groshans has been swinging a hot stick lately. Let's see if he can make them pay.
Groshans 1 for 2 with a pinch hit double in last night's game, part of that 5-run onslaught in the 8th inning. Ethan Paul on second, Cesar Salazar on first.